Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Nipunika Shahid with the evening news. The headlines. India and US jointly declare closer cooperation can promote security and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific region and beyond. U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd J. Austin meets External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, discuss wide-ranging issues on global strategic situation. Campaigning in poll-bound states and union territory reaches crescendo as star campaigners address rallies in West Bengal, Assam, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry. Congress releases Manifesto in Assam, promises not to implement Citizenship Amendment Act if voted to power. India records milestone in COVID-19 vaccination with administration of over 4 crore 20 lakh doses. Sent our states and union territories to take strict measures to contain COVID spike. Maharashtra makes it compulsory for passengers arriving from Delhi, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Goa and Kerala to take rapid antigen test for COVID. 4 people killed in a blast at a chemical factory in Maharashtra's Ratnagiri district. Yashaswini Deshwal bags first gold medal for India in women's 10-meter air pistol final of International Shooting Sport Federation World Cup. PV Sindhu crashes out of All England Open Badminton Championship. And in cricket, India were 181 for 2 in 17 overs against England in the series decider and final T20 international match at Ahmedabad. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki doori for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. India and the US today reaffirmed that their closer cooperation in partnership with countries keen to uphold rules-based order can promote security and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific region and beyond. In a joint press statement after his talks with US Secretary of Defense Lloyd J. Austin, Defense Minister Rajnath Singh said it is consistent with India's policy of Sagar, which stands for security and growth for all in the region. He said the recent and first leaders summit of Quad comprising India, USA, Japan and Australia has emphasized the resolve to maintain a free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific. Mr. Singh said during the talks they reviewed bilateral defense cooperation and resolved to further deepen the ties.
Our discussions today focused on our wide-ranging defense cooperation and expanding military-to-military engagement across services, information sharing, cooperation in emerging sectors of defense and mutual logistics support. We reviewed the wide gamut of bilateral and multilateral exercises and agreed to pursue enhanced cooperation with the US Indo-Pacific Command, Central Command and Africa Command.
The minister said India and the US are determined to work together to realize the full potential of the comprehensive global strategic partnership.
We had a comprehensive and fruitful discussion with Secretary Austin and his delegation. We are keen to work together to realize the full potential of the India-US comprehensive global strategic partnership.
Mr. Singh said both countries also plan to optimize the Logistics Exchange Memorandum of Agreement, LEMOA, Communications Compatibility and Security Agreement, COMCASA, and Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement, BECA, and achieve their full potential to contribute to our security and prosperity.
We discussed the need for enhanced capacity building to address some of the non-traditional challenges such as oil spills and environment disasters, drug trafficking, illegal, underreported and underregulated fishing, etc.
In his statement, Mr. Austin said India is an increasingly important partner in today's rapidly changing international dynamics. The U.S. Defense Secretary said he and Mr. Singh had a very productive discussion.
We discussed opportunities to elevate the U.S.-India major defense partnership, which is a priority of the Biden-Harris administration. And we'll do that through regional security cooperation and military-to-military interactions and defense trade. In addition, we are continuing to advance new areas of collaboration, including information sharing and logistics, in artificial intelligence, and cooperation in new domains such as space and cyber.
Secretary Austin said Indo-US relationship is a stronghold of free and open Indo-Pacific region. He said Prime Minister Modi stated India stands for freedom of navigation and freedom of overflight, unimpeded lawful commerce in adherence to international law, and it reaffirms the shared vision for regional security.
We also discussed engagement with like-minded partners through multilateral groupings such as the Quad and ASEAN. And as the Indo-Pacific region faces acute transnational challenges, such as climate changes and challenges to a free and open regional order, cooperation among like-minded countries is imperative to securing our shared vision for the future.
U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd J. Austin also met with External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar in New Delhi. The two leaders held a wide-ranging talks on the global strategic situation. Campaigning is in full swing in poll-bound states of West Bengal, Assam, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and the Union Territory of Puducherry. As the first phase of assembly elections is nearing in West Bengal, the campaigning is getting heated up as parties are engaged in war of words. Our Kolkata correspondent Madhuparna Chaudhary reports that the term Khela Hobe, which means the game is on, is being frequently used by many leaders.
Trinamool Congress had come up with a song with the coinage initially to captivate young voters, and it became viral. TMC chief Mamata Banerjee started using the phrase, which has become a trademark slogan in poll-bound Bengal. BJP also chose to reply using the same words, and senior party leaders are saying in their campaigns that now it is time to stop the game of TMC. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also been heard using the words during his election campaigns in the state.
वो कहती रहे खेला होवे, लेकिन पूरा बंगाल आज कह रहा है खेला शेष होवे, विकास आरंभ होवे.
Sanyukt Morcha Alliance partner Congress is also using their version of Khela Hobe slogan. Other partner, CPIM, came up with parody of a popular Bollywood song with the message to bring back the left parties. The verdict of people will be clear on 2nd of May, but it seems that the young generation responded well to the changed version of slogans. Madhuparna Chaudhary for AIN News, Kolkata.
The Left Front released their election manifesto in West Bengal today with 25 promises. Chairman of the Left Front, Biman Basu, released the manifesto this evening in Kolkata, highlighting minimum wage of 21,000 rupees, revival of small-scale and medium industries. In Assam, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that the Assam state is progressing in every sector under the BJP-led government, both at centre and state, and emphasized that the continuity of the present government is necessary for the welfare of state. He was addressing a gathering held in Chabua Assembly constituency of Upper Assam. Speaking to the party workers, Mr. Modi said the welfare of the tea garden community of Assam and other welfare programs was successfully implemented by the BJP-led Assam government. Narrating how the double-engine government of BJP-led government, both at centre and in the state, has played crucial role in the progress of Assam state, Mr. Modi said the government has developed the inland waterway connectivity in the state and constructed many bridges, including longest brigade Bogibeel Bridge.
असम के नौजवानों को नए अवसर देने के लिए, असम में उद्योगों के लिए बेहतर माहौल बनाने के लिए, असम की महिलाओं को और सशक्त करने के लिए, असम के किसानों की आय बढ़ाने के लिए हमारी सरकार निरंतर काम कर रही है. इसी तरह पक्के घर हो, शौचालय हो, गैस कनेक्शन हो, पानी का कनेक्शन हो, जमीन के पट्टे हो, ये काम डबल इंजन की सरकार तेजी से कर रही है.
On the other hand, Congress party released its manifesto in Guwahati today promising not implementing the Citizenship Amendment Act if voted to power. Our Guwahati correspondent reports that senior party leader Rahul Gandhi released the manifesto in the presence of several other leaders.
The Congress promised to give 5 lakh government jobs and 25 lakh jobs in private sector in the next 5 years if voted to power in Assam. For housewives, the party would provide 2,000 rupees per month under Grihini Samman scheme. It also says to waive off agricultural debt of farmers. The Congress further promised to increase the daily wage of tea workers to 365 rupees. Senior party leader Rahul Gandhi claimed that this manifesto would protect the culture, language and identity of the people of Assam. Manas Pratim Sharma, AR News, Guwahati.
In Tamil Nadu, scrutiny of nomination for the upcoming election to the 234 assembly constituencies is under progress for the single-phase election in the state. Our Chennai correspondent reports that a total of 7,230 nominations have been filed, including 1,067 female and 3 transgenders, till the last day of nomination yesterday. March 22nd is the last date for withdrawal, and the polling will be held on 6th April.
In 234 constituencies, as many as 1,760 nominations were accepted and 1,050 nominations were rejected when last report came in. District electoral officers launched awareness programs for the 100% polling. Tiruvannamalai District Election Officer Sandeep Nanduri released a helium balloon in the sky carrying 100% polling message on it. Rangoli event, mini marathon, signature campaign, pledge taking and other forms of awareness activities were conducted across the state. Tamil Nadu government has announced that the schools will be closed for classes 9, 10 and 11 from March 22 until further orders in the wake of increasing COVID cases in the state. However, for class 12 students, classes will continue following COVID protocols. With joy, this is R. Murthy, AR News, Chennai.
Meanwhile, scrutiny of nominations is being held today for single-phase assembly elections in Kerala and Union Territory of Puducherry and third-phase assembly elections in West Bengal and Assam. Filling of nominations in the 4 states and the Union Territory ended yesterday. Last date for withdrawal of candidature is 22nd of March. India has recorded a milestone in COVID-19 vaccination with administration of over 4 crore 20 lakh doses. The Health and Family Welfare Ministry has informed today that a total of 27,23,575 doses of vaccines have been administered to the beneficiaries in the last 24 hours. Talking to AIR News, member Niti Aayog Dr. V.K. Paul has expressed happiness over this achievement.
The country surpassed a very, very significant milestone in our vaccination program against COVID-19 yesterday. We have crossed now total cumulative vaccination coverage of more than 4 crore. And this is among the very highest in the world in terms of the speed with which this milestone has been achieved. And it is also very creditworthy that in this 4 crore coverage, more than 1.53 crore people are those who are above the age of 60 years, the senior citizens, who are the priority individuals and cohort who should be protected against COVID-19 disease at this point in time.
The Home Ministry has instructed all states and union territories to take necessary steps to promote COVID-19 appropriate behavior among people and ensure strict enforcement of safety measures to curb the rising cases of COVID-19 in the country. In a letter written to all the Chief Secretaries of States and Administrators of Union Territories by the Home Secretary Ajay Bhalla, it is stressed that guidelines for surveillance, containment and caution must be strictly followed. In view of the rising COVID cases in Mumbai and Maharashtra, passengers arriving in Mumbai from Delhi, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Goa and Kerala have to undergo rapid antigen test (RAT) at railway stations. Passengers coming via trains passing through these states may also have to undergo rapid antigen test. About 27,126 new patients tested positive for coronavirus in Maharashtra. For the third consecutive day, the state registered more than 25,000 cases. At least 4 people were killed and several injured in a blast at a chemical factory in an industrial area in Maharashtra's Ratnagiri district today. The incident took place at Garda Chemicals in Khet Taluka's Lote MIDC area at Vias today. Our correspondent reports that all the people stuck inside were rescued by the team of fire brigade. The injured have been rushed to the nearby hospital. Seriously injured persons are being shifted to hospitals in Mumbai and Pune. The reason behind the fire is yet to be ascertained. An explosion of the boiler might be the cause of the accident. The fire has been brought under control and cooling operations are underway. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed grief on the loss of lives due to an explosion at a factory in Ratnagiri district of Maharashtra. Mr. Modi expressed condolences to the bereaved families. He hoped that the injured will recover soon. This is All India Radio giving you the news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter @AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back to the evening news. Now here is a review of this week's Parliament proceedings. Writer is V. Mohan Rao, senior journalist. Several important bills were introduced in both houses of Parliament during the week. They included the bill on National Capital Territory of Delhi to define the role and powers of the Lieutenant Governor. With the objective of giving a proper interpretation of a Supreme Court ruling, the government introduced a bill that seeks to define certain role and powers of the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi. Minister of State for Home Affairs G. Kishan Reddy introduced the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Amendment Bill 2021. Minister for Mines Prahlad Joshi introduced a bill to amend the Mines and Mineral Development and Regulation Act 1957 in the Lok Sabha. The amendments are aimed at bringing mega reforms in the mines sector with resolution of legacy issues and making a large number of mines available for auction. Replying to the debate, Minister for Mines Prahlad Joshi said reforms in the mining sector would generate 55 lakh direct and indirect jobs and strengthen the economy. Later, the House passed the bill. A bill to amend the Juvenile Justice, Care and Protection of Children Act 2015, which seeks to increase the role of district magistrates and additional district magistrates, was introduced in the Lok Sabha. The Lok Sabha took up a discussion on the demand for grants on the Railway Ministry this week. Initiating the discussion on the demand for grants on railways, Ram Kripal Yadav of the BJP asserted that the Indian Railways has rendered yeoman service during the coronavirus pandemic by transporting 43 lakh migrant labourers, distributing 2 crore free food packets, and making available several hundred rail coaches to be used as healthcare centres. Ravneet Singh of the Congress alleged that migrant labourers and the poor suffered during the coronavirus-induced lockdown. He said they did not get the benefits they deserved. Replying to the debate, Railway Minister Piyush Goyal has ruled out privatisation of the Indian Railways and said investment will be encouraged for more efficient functioning. He was replying to a discussion on the demands for grants for railways in the Lok Sabha on Tuesday. Mr. Goyal said the country can progress towards high growth and create more employment opportunities only when the public and private sectors work together. The House later passed the demands for grants for railways for 2021-22. The Rajya Sabha also took up the discussion on the working of the Ministry of Railways this week. Replying to the debate in the upper house, Railway Minister Piyush Goyal said over 64 lakh migrant labourers reached home safely through Shramik trains during the COVID pandemic. He said free meals and free packaged drinking water were provided in the Shramik trains. He said trains were converted into isolation wards on the suggestion by the Prime Minister to provide an option for isolating COVID-19 infected patients. Later, after discussion, demands for grants for railways for 2021-22 was passed by both the houses. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar made a statement in both the houses of Parliament on Monday on COVID-19. He said India is fully cognizant of the employment concerns of the people working abroad and expects governments in the Gulf to be helpful in facilitating the early return of those compelled to return home due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The minister said the focus of the government's efforts in the last few months has now shifted to Indians going back to their usual places of work, study and domicile. As Jaishankar said, air transport bubble arrangements have been concluded with 27 countries so far in this regard. He said the government is fully cognizant of the employment concerns that Indians abroad have in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic. The minister said the government has led the way for an economic recovery at home and similar untiring efforts are being made to help renew livelihoods of Indians abroad. In recent months, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had virtually spoken with the leaders of Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar and Oman. As Jaishankar said, the support extended from India for the stay and travel of Indian citizens was warmly acknowledged by the community and the governments alike. He said the government is aware that there are problems of compensation, re-employment and reskilling that need solutions. He said the Air India Group alone has operated more than 9,500 flights, taking 10.9 lakh passengers abroad so far. On Monday, the Rajya Sabha saw the passage of the National Institutes of Food Technology, Entrepreneurship and Management Bill 2019 by voice vote. Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar, while replying to the discussion on the bill, said all policies of national importance would be implemented in these institutions along with applicable reservations. The Rajya Sabha debated on the working of the Ministry of Jal Shakti, and Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, Jal Shakti Minister, told the Rajya Sabha on Tuesday that several projects worth 1.91 lakh crore rupees under the flagship Jal Jeevan Mission are being undertaken aimed at providing drinking water to every rural household in the country. Replying to a discussion on the working of the Jal Shakti Ministry, Shekhawat said the centre is in touch with the states for effective implementation of the projects, stating that water crisis can have a negative impact on the GDP by 6%. The Jal Shakti Minister said that India's water requirement would double by 2030 and grow 4 times by year 2050. He said that more than 3.77 crore households were provided tap water connections under the mission. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman informed the members that funds under the Members of Parliament Local Area Development Scheme MPLADs for 2019-20 have been released. Rajya Sabha on Tuesday passed a bill which seeks to provide for regulation and maintenance of standards of education and services by allied and healthcare professionals. The National Commission for Allied and Healthcare Professionals Bill 2020 was passed by voice vote. The Rajya Sabha also passed the Insurance Amendment Bill 2021 on Thursday. The bill aims at increasing the foreign direct investment limit in the insurance sector to 74% from the current 49%. Replying to the debate, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said foreign investment will supplement domestic long-term resources with a view to further insurance penetration in the country. The bill was passed with a voice vote. The Upper House also passed a bill to raise the upper limit for permitting abortions from the present 20 weeks to 24 weeks for special categories of women, including rape survivors, victims of incest, minors and the differently abled. The Medical Termination of Pregnancy Amendment Bill 2020 to amend the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act 1971 was passed by voice vote. During question hour, Housing and Urban Affairs Minister Hardeep Singh Puri said the government is now going to relocate to a new Parliament building where we will have enough space. The ministry has obtained necessary approvals for building a new Parliament by 2022 and for the Central Vista Avenue. The Lok Sabha passed the Appropriation Bill 2021-22, authorizing the government to draw funds from the Consolidated Fund of India for its working as well as implementation of its programs and schemes. The Appropriation Bill authorizing payment and appropriation of specified sums from the Consolidated Fund of India for 2021-22 was introduced by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. It was later approved by voice vote. Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari issued a statement on the vehicle scrapping policy on Thursday in both Houses of Parliament. The policy will offer about 5% rebate to those buying new cars if they junk their old vehicles. Vehicle manufacturers are advised for providing a discount of 5% on the purchase of a new vehicle against the scrapping certificate. The minister said the policy will also lead to an increase in the country's automobile industry turnover to 10 lakh crore rupees from the current 4.5 lakh crore rupees. And that is all in Weekly Parliament Review. In cricket, India set a victory target of 225 runs to England in the fifth and final T20 international match being played at Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad. India scored 224 runs for the loss of 2 wickets in the stipulated 20 overs. Virat Kohli thrashed the English bowling to score 80 runs off 52 balls, and Rohit Sharma scored 64 runs off 34 balls. For the visitors, Ben Stokes and Adil Rashid took a wicket each. Earlier, England won the toss and elected to field. India's ace shuttler PV Sindhu crashed out of the All England Open Badminton Championships today with a semi-final loss to Thailand's Pornpawi Chorchuwong. She lost 17-21, 9-21 in a match that lasted just 45 minutes and failed to make the final. Yashaswini Deshwal bagged the first gold medal for India in the women's 10-meter air pistol final of the International Shooting Sport Federation ISSF World Cup today at the Dr. Karni Singh shooting range. Deshwal accumulated 238.8 points to lead in her category. Another Indian shooter, Manu Bhaker, won a silver medal with 236.7 points. Earlier in the day, world number 1 shooter Divyansh Singh Pawar clinched the bronze medal in 10-meter air rifle men's category and opened India's medal account in the competition. Divyansh shot 228.1, which got him the 3rd position, while Arjun Babuta finished at 5th position, narrowly missing out on a medal. Lukas Kozniewski of the USA won the gold medal, while Hungarian shooter Istvan Penny took home silver in the mega event.
And now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. National capital Delhi is likely to have mist in the morning. The temperature will hover between 18 and 35 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have partly cloudy sky. The minimum temperature will be 24 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 32 degrees. Chennai is expected to have mainly clear sky. The temperature will vary between 24 and 33 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have partly cloudy sky. The city will observe minimum temperature of 25 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 38 degrees. Srinagar will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Temperature will hover between 6 and 15 degrees Celsius. Jammu will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. The minimum temperature will be 17 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 29 degrees. Leh will witness mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature will be around -5 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 10 degrees.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has wished speedy recovery to Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan from COVID-19. Earlier, Pakistan Health Minister Faisal Sultan tweeted that Mr. Imran Khan has tested positive for COVID and he is self-isolating himself at home. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will share his thoughts with the people in the country and abroad in the Mann Ki Baat program on All India Radio on the 28th of this month. It will be the 75th episode of the monthly radio program. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. India and the US jointly declare closer cooperation can promote security and prosperity in the Indo-Pacific region and beyond. US Secretary of Defense Lloyd J. Austin meets External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. Discuss wide-ranging issues on global strategic situation. Campaigning in poll-bound states and union territory reaches crescendo as star campaigners address rallies in West Bengal, Assam, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry. Congress releases Manifesto in Assam, promises not to implement Citizenship Amendment Act if voted to power. India records milestone in COVID-19 vaccination with administration of over 4 crore 20 lakh doses. Sent our states and union territories to take strict measures to contain COVID spike. Maharashtra makes it compulsory for passengers arriving from Delhi, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Goa and Kerala to take rapid antigen test for COVID. 4 people killed in a blast at a chemical factory in Maharashtra's Ratnagiri district. Yashaswini Deshwal bags first gold medal for India in women's 10-meter air pistol final of International Shooting Sport Federation World Cup. PV Sindhu crashes out of All England Open Badminton Championship. And in cricket, India set a target of 225 runs to England in the series decider and final T20 international match at Ahmedabad. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.